Hey YouTube, welcome to another Valkyrie Connect video. My name is Hakeo, and in this video we'll be going over the Super Connect Ymir. I'll be going over the recommendations of items that you can use, types of heroes, as well as his mechanics. First off, we'll be going over what item he offers through his tokens, and that is the Genesis Armor. It deals 140% dark magic attack towards the nearest enemy. The biggest part of this effect is that it ignores the barriers, so it'll bypass Luka's barrier, Neji's barrier, or whatever barrier the nearest unit has currently up, such as barriers from Glacial Cloak or Glimmering Armor. The downside is that you can only equip it to Ymir, not any unit. Next up, we'll be going over his stats as well as his mechanics. First is that he only comes in one difficulty, and that's the 7-star difficulty, making him a Super Connect. Ymir is a Jotun that emphasizes highly on dark magic attack as well as magic defense. He is airborne, so keep that in mind when you're equipping or choosing heroes that have any type of airborne damage increase on hit. Looking at his elemental wheel, you can see that he has a high affinity towards dark magic with moderate resistance towards fire, wind, and light. When choosing units or weapons for damage, you want to look at those three elements first, and water being last, since that has the highest resist out of the 4 elements, excluding dark. Ymir is accompanied by 2 sets of crystals, one being a mage type, the other set being a range type. The mage type has high magic defense as well as the range type. The difference between the two is that the mage type places a chaos field that deals dark damage every turn for 2 turns, and it also deals dark magic attack damage to the front hero. The range magic crystals, all it really does is restores his HP and grants him a 50% speed buff for 2 turns. A few things to keep in mind while fighting Ymir is that he has 3 HP bars, high magic defense, low physical defense, and his activated skill deals 150% dark magic attack towards the enemy party, as well as ignoring all barriers. His auto skill deals dark magic damage and a gravity field for 2 turns to all heroes. A gravity field slows down the action and skill gauge generation of those afflicted by it. Keep note that all of his attacks are connect wide, meaning that you don't have to segment out your party to protect the mid row or the furthest row. It's safe to stack your party with all melee DPS so that you can take advantage of his low physical defense. Next, we'll move into some suggested equipments that you can use for the fight. A few things I kept in mind while showing these examples is whether the attack is neutral, whether it has an elemental advantage over his resistance, if it gave decent magic defense or a skill that increased the magic defense percentage, as well as HP. First, we have Brave's Staff, which deals magic attack damage to the nearest enemy. Note that even though it's magic attack base, it is a non-elemental attack. And the secondary effect raises the magic attack and magic defense of the user up for 2 turns. Next, we have Excalibur. Though it's exclusive to Saber herself, it does deal light physical attack damage to the nearest enemy row, while raising her skill gauge up by 20%, thus leading to you using her ability more often. The next item I chose is Monier, which is exclusive to Thor. It's on this list due to him being a 14-day login bonus. I'm going to assume that most players chose him to 5-star him. The weapon itself deals physical light attack damage to the nearest enemy. The next item is Latent Light Bolt, which deals physical light attack damage to the 3 nearest enemies, targeting Ymir as well as his 2 nearest crystals. Next, we have the Ozzy Fur Coat, which deals fire, water, and earth damage to 3 random enemies, making it an excellent choice to break down crystals. The next item is a defensive item, Saint's Robe. It grants a magic attack debuff on the nearest enemy with the highest magic attack. Next up, we have Jormungandr, which deals water magic attack damage, magic attack down to the 3 furthest enemies for 2 turns, making it ideal to damage crystals. The next weapon is for melee is Fameseer, which deals earth physical attack damage to the 3 nearest enemies with a damage bonus towards airborne enemies. The last few equipments that I want to show you are the accessories. Generally what you're looking for is magic defense, HP, gravity resist such as Loki's Scolds and Luka's specific ring, as well as high physical attack since you'll most likely be using melees in this connect. The next thing I wanted to go over are the heroes and why I chose them to be recommended for the connect. So first, with our healers and tanks, we have Balder, Erd, Luka, and Zato. First we have Balder, which does a team heal for 5% of the hero's max HP, 6 times, which equals up to 30% of their max HP. And his Limit Burst offers an AoE heal across the entire Connect battle. Though his elemental resist isn't strong at all, especially towards Dark, he is more available than Erd, and outside of him you really don't have another dedicated healer. Unless you have Halloween Idun, which she herself is also difficult to get. Next we have the best healer in the game, Erd, which restores 15% of a hero's max HP over 3 turns, and increasing their magic defense by 20% for 3 turns. The reason why she's also good is not only because she has a higher dark resist, it's also because of her specific weapon, which states that it heals the hero with the lowest HP on your team. If you skill it up to level 5, it heals for 25% of their max HP. Next we have Luka, mainly because her dark resistance and the specific ring that you can give her has a resistance towards gravity. This time it's not about her barrier, but more of her resistance and sustainability in a fight. I also chose her to be the better tank because most players will have her orbed out and promoted as well, since they usually use her for everything else. Next we have Zato. Though he's normally a melee DPS, you can use him as a tank in Ymir if you have him orbed out and promoted as well as geared out. Just because of his high dark resist, he won't really take that much damage, though he also won't do that much damage either. Next up we have a few examples of DPS heroes that you can use in the Connect. We have Skuld, Sonya, Aisha, and Loki. I chose Skuld mainly because of her ability to destroy the crystals and her secondary effect where she can heal your party as well. She has a ring specific to her that resists gravity, which is essential in this Connect. Though her dark resist isn't very high, her ability to crush crystals is a huge benefit towards the Connect if you can destroy them early on. Next we have Sonya. She is one of the better units for this Connect due to her dark resistance and her ability to deal earth damage towards Ymir, his weakest element. And she has a 50% damage bonus towards airborne enemies, that includes Ymir. The next 2 heroes, Aisha and Loki, generally have the same purpose where they are meant to destroy crystals in the Connect. Loki targets 3 random enemies and Aisha targets the 2 nearest enemies. The difference between the two is that Loki has a ring that you can use on that resists gravity, but Aisha has a stronger dark resist. Even though Loki's dark resistance is lower, he does have an advantage where he can equip a ring that resists gravity, and his ability targets 3 random enemies versus Aisha, which will constantly target the 2 nearest enemies, meaning that she'll hit Ymir as well as a crystal, where Loki can hit 3 crystals, making him ideal for crystal crushing, and that's essential for winning a Connect overall. Lastly, we have Saber, Dress Saber, Wolfgang, and Freya. I chose these 4 to be the last examples mainly because of accessibility. During the Fate Stay Night event, most players would have gotten Saber if they at least did the Gilgamesh Connect or they got it through the Diamond Summon. And the other 2, Wolfgang and Freya, most players will generally have them. Excluding Dress Saber, where she is the rarer of the 4, the rest are pretty accessible. Saber is one of the better heroes for this Connect, mainly because of her ability to hit all enemies, that's including the crystals. She grants herself a 30% physical attack buff, and she has decent dark resist. The reason why I wanted to include Dress Saber is to show everyone that she has the ability to lower the physical defense of the 3 nearest enemies in the Connect, and she has a damage bonus towards airborne enemies. The last 2 heroes were included mainly because of their accessibilities to most players, Wolfgang and Freya. Wolfgang has high dark resist and his ability isn't an elemental attack, it's pure magic attack damage. On top of that, he grants a stat debuff. The main one you're looking for is the defense down to the enemy with the highest defense. Next we have Freya. Though her dark resist isn't high, most players have her promoted and orbed out to the point where she could be useful in the Connect. If you have her paired with Erd, she shouldn't die. Overall, what you're looking for in the Connect are physical attackers, since Ymir has high magic defense as well as his crystals, and you want to provide assistance in destroying the crystals along with the other 2 parties that you're doing the Connect with. Remember that these are just example heroes that you can use in the Connect. There are many others that you can use. A few things to keep in mind when choosing heroes is if their dark resist is high enough, if their ability has any elemental damage to it, and if it does, is it one that has an advantage over Ymir? If they're able to hit the crystals, can they grant any debuffs or buffs towards the team? And lastly, if they have a resistance towards gravity or not. Hopefully this video has given you better insight on the Super Connect Ymir, and if you do decide to fight him, that you'll keep all of these tips in mind. And with that, if you want to get involved with the Valkyrie Connect community, there is a Discord and Reddit that you can join. I'll provide the link in the description below. If you like the video, please like the video. If you would like to see more content like this in the future, please subscribe. If you would like to see Valkyrie Connect Japanese news, or just to see what I've been up to in the game, follow me on Twitter. And until next time guys, take care.